Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you tuning in today because we're tackling a genuinely critical topic in solar engineering and low-voltage system design, and that's analyzing inverter thermal derating in hot climates. If you've spent any time working with off-grid energy or solar power setups, you already know your inverter is the heart of the operation. But what happens when the temperature outside just starts to absolutely soar? Today, we're going to break down exactly how extreme heat impacts your system and, more importantly, how to calculate its true, real-world performance. So grab your notebooks because we're getting into some fascinating and highly practical engineering today.
All right, let's jump right in with a pretty simple question. Where did your power go at 40 degrees Celsius? It's a super common scenario. You buy a system with a specific rating, let's say 5 kilowatts, and you naturally assume that when you need 5 kilowatts of power, it's just going to be there waiting for you. But is that rating actually guaranteed in the peak sweltering heat of summer? Well, the short answer is no, not at all. Extreme ambient temperatures fundamentally change how your hardware actually performs.
Just think about that nameplate reading for a second, the bold number printed right on the side of the box, and compare it to your actual usable power at 40 degrees Celsius. I really want to emphasize this paradigm shift here because your system might be silently underperforming the second the heat kicks in. So many people design their systems based entirely on that paper rating, completely unaware that ambient temperature is forcing the inverter to throttle back. We've really got to bridge the gap between what's written on paper and the actual field reality. So here's our roadmap for how we're going to master this. First, we'll look at the hidden heat load. Second, why inverters derate. Third, calculating your usable power. And finally, number 4, safe system design. Okay, starting with part 1, the hidden heat load.
We really need to completely reframe how we think about ambient temperature. It's not just the weather, it's an active physical variable in our electrical system. Heat is a hidden load. Imagine you're out at your off-grid cabin, turning on appliances, tallying up the watts in your head. You probably think you have plenty of room before hitting the inverter's limit, right? Well, at 40 degrees Celsius, ambient heat acts as this invisible accumulating load on the entire system. It is literally consuming the capacity of your inverter before your appliances ever reach the hardware's theoretical limit. The heat directly impacts semiconductor efficiency, internal resistance, and cooling capacity. If you don't factor in this invisible load, your system is going to trip or throttle way before you expect it to.
Moving on to part 2, why inverters derate. Now that we know heat acts as a hidden load, we've got to look under the hood. What are the mechanics inside the hardware making the inverter behave this way under a heavy load? What's super interesting here is how this concept completely flips the narrative around derating. We often hear people complain that their inverters lose power when it gets hot, making it sound like a design flaw or a hardware failure. But actually, scratch that, let's define it properly. Thermal derating is a protection mechanism. It's intentionally reducing output to prevent the internal components, specifically your MOSFETs and capacitors, from overheating and taking on massive stress. If the inverter didn't aggressively scale back its output, it would just push itself right into premature thermal shutdown, or even worse, it would destroy its own internals. So derating isn't a failure, it's a life-saving safety feature for your equipment.
And this brings us to why that heat builds up in the first place. Whenever an inverter is running, the input power splits into two things: usable output power and internal heat. A portion is always lost as internal heat based on the inverter's baseline efficiency rating. The math from our sources is actually pretty straightforward. It tells us that the heat generated internally is roughly equal to the output power multiplied by 1 minus the efficiency. So think about it. If your inverter is pulling really heavy loads, it is physically generating a massive amount of internal heat on its own. And that internal heat just completely compounds the problem of the high ambient temperature outside the box.
This whole dynamic directly determines your thermal headroom. So thermal headroom equals the critical shutdown temperature minus the actual internal temperature of the inverter. Think of this headroom as your absolute safety buffer. As the ambient temperature rises outside, your internal temperature rises right along with it. Then you add in the internal heat generated by your heavy loads that we just talked about, and suddenly your internal temperature is creeping closer and closer to that critical shutdown threshold. Because that internal temperature absolutely must stay safely below the shutdown point, the inverter really only has one choice to survive. It has to reduce its output, which in turn shrinks the internal heat it generates. All right, part 3, calculating your usable power. Time for the engineering math. We've got the theory down, and we know exactly why this happens. So let's actually do the math to predict real-world behavior. We're going to ground our calculations in a very specific, severe scenario.
40 degrees Celsius. We're using this as our baseline because this is exactly where real-world performance deviates sharply from that paper nameplate. If you're designing for a hot climate, 40 degrees is the harsh reality your equipment is going to face.
We use the linear thermal derating equation to quantify our usable power. It really comes down to 3 key variables. First up, P out actual. This is your usable AC output, the actual power you can rely on. Second is P rated. That's the nameplate continuous rating we mentioned earlier. And third, D of T, which is your temperature-based derating factor. The core relationship is beautifully simple. Your actual usable output equals your rated power multiplied by this D of T factor. Now, this derating factor is just a number between 0 and 1 that decreases as the ambient temperature rises above the manufacturer's baseline reference temperature. In real systems, sure, this curve can sometimes be nonlinear because of fan stages kicking in, but this foundational equation lets us map exactly how your power drops as the heat rises. So, how do we actually put this model to work? Step 1, start with your rated power. That is your baseline standard. Step 2, apply the ambient temp correction using that derating factor we just defined. Step 3, and this one is absolutely crucial, account for enclosure heat. You have to remember, the temperature inside a closed installation box is going to be significantly hotter than the weather outside. And finally, step 4, reduce your expected load accordingly. By following these 4 logical steps, you're not just guessing anymore. You are accurately modeling your actual usable power in high heat conditions.
And that brings us to part 4, safe system design.
Let's zoom out and apply this mathematical model to the physical realities of your installation, just to ensure maximum reliability and safety. Because if we don't actively manage this heat, we hit some really severe risk points. Operating continuously near thermal limits isn't just about a temporary drop in power. It actually accelerates capacitor aging, which increases their internal resistance over time. It causes MOSFET junction temperature spikes under surge loads, which basically means you lose your surge capacity even before your continuous rating drops. On top of that, poor ventilation causes hidden derating, meaning you won't even realize there's a problem until you happen to run a heavy load test. And finally, battery proximity heat stacking. Think about it. If your inverter is sitting right next to a giant battery bank that is also generating its own heat, you are essentially stacking thermal loads right on top of each other, which drastically reduces that thermal headroom we talked about.
Which leads me to a massive, incredibly important engineering warning. Never, ever bypass your cooling systems or disable fans just to reduce noise. I get it, you might be annoyed by a loud fan kicking on, but disabling it directly compromises the thermal safety of the entire system. Without that forced cooling to dissipate the heat balance we calculated earlier, your internal temperatures are going to rapidly cross that shutdown threshold. Seriously, do not tamper with the hardware's protection mechanisms.
I want to leave you with this fantastic concluding mantra straight from our source material. Thermal derating is not a limitation, it is a design parameter. It's so true. If you calculate it correctly and you plan for it, your inverter is going to perform reliably even under extreme 40-degree heat. But if you ignore it, well, your system might look absolutely fantastic on paper, but it will inevitably underperform out in the field. So embrace the math and use it to design incredibly resilient off-grid power systems. So I want to turn this over to you. At what exact temperature have you personally seen your own inverter start to throttle back its output? I highly encourage you to analyze your own hardware data. Dive into those system logs, compare your real-world field tests against the exact math we went over today. Keep learning, keep measuring, and just always remember that when it comes to power systems, heat is always part of the equation. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I literally cannot wait to see how you apply these engineering concepts to your own setups. Catch you next time.